Hello, my name is Karen Lebsanft. I am the CEO and co-founder of Kurrajong Kitchen, Lebsanft. We've been creating entertaining moments for the past 30 years. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past and present and acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in honour of my great-great-great-grandfather Miranda, an Indigenous leader. Today I share with you a lived experience of those 30 years. Kurrajong Kitchen, the story, the good, the bad, the ugly, and certainly some of the most amazing moments we've had and some of the deep, deep, dark moments we've also had. I hope that you will take away with you a learning that you can go and grow, inspire others and continue to help grow this country. In 1993, we sat in our little restaurant in Kurrajong. As we pondered the idea of Kurrajong Kitchen of Lebsanft and how we would grow that business, and we asked ourselves, how would we ever know if we were a success? How would we know? What does success look like? I'd like to share with you what I have learned is success is a journey. It is not a destination. There have been moments of great success for us, moments of success, and in every moment that you do see success, it's important to acknowledge it and acknowledge it to yourself. Recognise what success looks like. So I'm going to share with you the value set that Kurrajong Kitchen has been able to articulate in the last few years, realising that along our journey, we actually always did live and breathe these. So in 1993, almost 30 years ago, our story begins. Our value number one that I can share, we give our consumers a great experience, and consumers are central to everything. We fell into manufacturing, bringing with us the generosity and desire to serve our customers. That is the philosophy of hospitality. And this is how it started. So in 1993, we were serving Lebsanft flatbread on our cheese plates in the restaurant in Kurrajong. We did not invent Lebsanft. Chefs around the world knew Lebsanft, and they were serving it in their bread baskets, on their platters, on their buffets. We just brought it to the Australian consumer. And when I say we just brought it to the Australian consumer, our success was bringing it to the pantry in the Australian household. Today, we are found on chefs' plates around the country, served on airlines across the skyways, and we are actually found in pantries across the nation. So in 1993, we were baking Lebsanft in the restaurant. At night time, we would actually get out the ironing board and actually pop it into a little bag, cellophane bag, pop in our business card and seal it shut with the iron. Each week, we'd pop our 30 packets or so at the door, and at the end of service, every week the basket was empty. So therein an idea that started from serving it in our cheese platters through to popping it into a basket so our customers could take it home and impress their friends. We suddenly realised there was an opportunity to grow and to actually take this to market. But how would we do it? Back then there were no My Kitchen rules, no farmers markets, no deconstruction of a menu on MasterChef. We just had to go and work it out. So we were buying our supplies for our restaurant, Clifford's restaurant in Kurrajong Village in the Hawkesbury, from our Sydney suppliers, high-end Sydney suppliers. And once a week we would make the trip down from the Blue Mountains down through to Sydney, load up with our supplies, and we started selling our 30 packets a week to Simon Johnson Quality Foods. Now for our 30 packets we would get $30, of course, and with that $30, instead of reinvesting it into our business, we'd go and have a great big feed in Chinatown before we made the chug back up the mountains, because that was our once a week entertainment. That grew. It grew at the restaurant door. It also grew through, as Simon Johnson Quality Foods was taking that product and sending it out to other restaurants, which we did not know who, we would have our customers actually ring us and say to us, we found your product somewhere at a certain restaurant that was served. How do we get it? How do we buy it? They wanted more. So we thought, if they want more, we didn't listen to our friends and family who also loved Lebsanft. But if those customers wanted more who were buying our product not knowing anything about us, how could we actually grow the market? So from baking in the restaurant and doing the 30 packets a week, sealing at night after service, we then moved on to a bakery. We were leasing the bakery, subleasing the downtime of a bakery. So we were subleasing it at an hourly rate. We started at 1 day a week, 3 hours a day. went to 3 days a week, 8 hours a day, and it eventually went where we had to buy that bakery to keep Kurrajong Kitchen in a home. So at some point we were baking lavash, also running a bakery as well. And we were actually a little challenged about how to grow the business. Did we want to stay in the bakery? Did we want to grow the lavash? Who was buying our product? Where was it going to? In 1997, we spent $3,500 and we made a very big decision. We took a standard Australian fine food show, a massive food show in Sydney. It attracts 20,000 visitors, overseas and domestic visitors. We would get to talk to chefs, cafe owners, hamper companies, supermarket managers. We would talk to many people and we started to understand who potentially was our customer, who was enjoying it as a consumer, and how we would actually get it to the consumer's plate. So a supermarket manager comes along. He was from Coles. He was managing a concept store in Sydney. And he says to us, "I love your product, your packaging won't work." And with that, the little grey packet that you see now, we had to develop a new packaging. He gave us a listing in Coles, and it's why this product, this brand exists in your pantry today, because one person had belief in us of the 20,000 visitors. Let's fast forward to 2001. Our product is loved. Consistency is key. As restaurant grew to bakery to manufacturing, we kept focus on a product, treating every piece as if we were serving it to our customers in the restaurant. As I shared with you before, my responsibility was to ensure that our customer loved what they were enjoying. Consistency is key has driven us to some very interesting decisions as we've grown in business. So in 2001, we are now making lavash in the restaurant. We have now got a listing in Coles and we are moving into Woolworths. So we're needing more space and thinking about how are we going to grow? How are we going to keep the consistency going in the product so that we wouldn't lose our consumer? So we decided we would outsource our product. And we decided that was going to be across in Western Australia. Western Australia, because it was far enough away that they couldn't actually come back into the eastern seaboard where the majority of market was. So a strategic decision made about distance. And we sent 2 of our team across there to teach this company what we wanted, how we wanted to actually grow, and how we wanted this product to actually be made so that we could in fact grow a business and grow a brand. Unfortunately, when we started this, we actually had an unmanned warehouse, still baking in the bakery in North Richmond. We had an unmanned warehouse in South Windsor. And as the truck driver would ring us and say, "We've got your pallet load of lavash to deliver," we'd come on down, open up the warehouse, and then often at night, by now we weren't in the restaurant, we were baking lavash full time in the bakery. We would open up the warehouse and go and check the quality of foods. Back then the quality systems were a little bit different. Unfortunately, we found by outsourcing our product, the consistency is key was not being delivered. So as we opened a packet, one piece we would find was completely burnt around the edges. The next piece was fully burnt. The next piece was baked the way how we had asked it, and we had an inconsistency of product. So Ben and myself sat there and we would unpack what was a whole pallet of lavash, would eventually come down to 1/3 of a pallet, and that in itself was repacked, and of course 2/3 of the pallet was wasted as we protected our brand so that we could grow our brand. Certainly cost us money in doing so. Needless to say, that contract manufacturing didn't stay there very long. From 2001 through to now, 2022, we are still on the same site. We built this site though where we are now to actually grow an export market with the intention that we would grow an export market and bake from here, and we would in fact outsource our domestic market product to Western Australia. It didn't happen, so all great plans laid were changed unfortunately, and now this site is the site that we have. And we have actually managed to produce and be benchmarked as an incredibly high output in our square metres, of which we're very proud, and still deliver consistency. By 2004, the David and Goliath battle had started. Remember, we're a family business, first generation that fell into manufacturing. This was not a planned journey, but it was a journey we had to take. In 2004, Arnott's came out with Lavosh. They priced higher. They said, we are better than you by pricing higher. They came out in a packaging that was a range of a number of different savoury, 4 different savoury products. They had a grissini, a lavosh. They spelt it the French way, so a point of difference. They had a oat cake and they had a rice cracker. They priced higher, which really said we are better than you. And of course, as a family business, first generation, our thoughts were, we are dead in the water. Our thoughts were, we are dead in the water. So we decided to think outside the square. The defining moment, we could go down with a fight or we could just leave it be. We were going down with a fight. If we were going down, we were going down with a fight. I think these are the moments that you shine best in business. Those who are, looking for support, looking to grow in business, you shine best when you're at the bottom. And this is what we decided to do. We had 2 young children. We were not prepared to lose that business. So we thought outside the square. And in our small box, packet of Lavosh, we put a little note. It did not name the company, but it said, this is a David and Goliath battle. We need you to support us so that we could grow in business and stay on the shelf. Only the other day I found that little note that we put in, the original little note we put into our consumers. Our wonderful customers supported us so strongly that next time we would get snail mail come in, that we still hold those pieces of paper, those letters that came from our consumers who actually wanted to be on this journey of success with us. The next time we go into Woolworths in the buyers meeting, not knowing what would become of us, he says to us, you have outsold Arnott's 2-1. You stay on the shelf, and their product did not remain. That's an amazing story. I love sharing that story because even though you're just small and you think that the giant's going to come and get you, you have the ability, when you dig deep, think outside this square, you have the ability to succeed. And that's all it takes is a few minds together and the willingness and determination. We're a tenacious group. By 2007, we were in a whole lot of pain in growth. So those of you in that stage at this moment will know what this looks like. Chaos management is a real term. It's an absolute unbelievable where you don't know, you're trying to grow, your cash flow is being challenged, you don't know whether to bring new product on, how to even grow potentially in a market that you're not used to as well. Remember back in, taking you back a moment, in 1993, then in 1997, when we went along to Fine Food Show, what happened for us even in 2001, 2004, there was no My Kitchen rules, there was no farmers markets, there was no deconstruction of a menu on MasterChef, there was no social media, so we had to find ways to think outside the square. The use of social media has allowed us to grow and grow and grow a whole lot more, but we did not know how to use it back then. We did not have it. My takeout for you on that is think outside the square. Not everybody has to go the same journey. 2007, we support each other to be better people through investment in learning. By 2007, we were growing incredibly big. Our team went from 2 to 35 at the time, and we had to learn how to manage people, improve our processes and systems, record them. We weren't just that team of 2. And as those of you who have teams and have staff on board know that people and culture are a very, very invaluable part of growing a business. We treat our employees, our team as family, and I'll speak to that very shortly. So by 2007, we were growing and we invested in learning. In lean manufacturing, everybody in the team has a part to play, and it's incredibly important that they actually can play that part. I want to jump forward to 2012. One of our values is we own our responsibility and help others to own theirs. It takes a team, each knowing and understanding their role, to be part of the journey of success. We step up as leaders to guide our KK family, and there was no bigger time than in 2012. We nearly did lose absolutely everything. Now, thinking about this, we'd been in business since 1993. We'd had 2 children in the early parts. We had grown this brand, grown this business. It was now a well-known brand. And for some reason, at 2012, which was in fact 19 years in, we nearly lost the business. Hook, line, sinker, as I say, the house, the children, the grass, the dogs, the soccer ball, it nearly went out the door. Why, you might say? You're a successful business, you're growing. What happened? A number of things happened. This is what the loss looks like. There's absolutely nothing on that slide. And that's absolutely how it felt. So by 2012, we had come off the back of the crisis in the GFC. We'd come off the back of the GFC in 2008 that had a bit of a delay. We also brought some people into the business to actually look into the business, but we forgot that we actually knew our business better than anybody. We knew our business better than anybody. And we didn't consider ourselves and our experience enough. We were always still searching. We'd actually chose to grow from 2007 to 2012 being our growth moments. In that period of time, we became a private label contractor, a white label contractor, so making for other brands. We had always been asked to make for brands, but we chose very much to stay on track and only make for the Kurrajong Kitchen brand. But of course, the carrot was dangled. A very large global company came to us in this period of time. Now, we had to make a decision to invest in a QA system, quality assurance system, that we hadn't actually done before. We chose to invest $150,000 into that QA system because we knew it would make us better. By now, we'd gone through the journey of food safety standards changing, packaging standards changing, employment law changing. We'd faced a lot of challenges along the way. But 2012, when this company came along, we thought it was a great opportunity. One of the things we always decided was if we were going to make for another company, we in fact wouldn't make for them if they sat in the same space as us. So if they were going to pop it on the shelf in the supermarket, which is where we now sat, in the biscuit aisle, in the premium entertaining space, we would not make for that company. So we would make for a company that potentially was selling onto an airline, that was a space we didn't play. But for some reason we chose to make for this company because they were global. They knew what they were doing. Surely they knew what they were doing. They were going to take us on the journey of growth with them, weren't they? So we invested the $150,000 into QA. For that, we are a much better business. However, our naivety, our lack of knowledge on the contract that we actually hadn't signed at all in full meant that the product did not stay on the shelf. Our brand stayed on the shelf. Their new product didn't stay on the shelf. So the opportunity to amortise that $150,000 spend over the life of the contract was never realised, as their product hadn't stayed on the shelf long enough and we hadn't secured the contract strongly. So the investment was something that just had to be amortised and picked up in our own brand, and we weren't really ready for that. We managed to stay alive. We actually remodelled our company. So we had to look really deeply inwardly to say, how can we keep growing? What we're incredibly proud to say is not one person lost their job in that period of time in 2012. We, of course, had to cut back many different things. Some of our staff took reduced hours, but we brought everybody together. One of the learnings I want to share with you out of this is the value of communication, and I talk to you about people, and we call ourselves the KK family. The KK, Kurrajong Kitchen family. Everybody plays a role, and everybody had a moment and a part to play. We supported them and they supported us, and everybody together kept working together. Today, our longest standing employee, KK family member, has been with us for 19 years. There's a huge percent that's actually been with us for over 10 years, and that is really invaluable to grow a team, to have a culture that actually talks to how you want to operate and be seen in your community, to be seen in your brand, to be seen within, and to be seen as part of what you actually want to do. So we live and breathe very much the KK family. So value 6, we are family. Inclusiveness is the key to a better team. That I talked to a moment in 2016. So by 2012, we'd remodeled our company, really thought about it. For us, we were manufacturing, we were a wholesaling company, we had a private label brand, and then of course a brand ownership. So just to rethink it, it was very important, because you don't know what you don't know. So of course, such a well-known saying, you don't know what you don't know. So the lived experience of being able to say, we nearly lost it all, but we're able to come back from it. One of the key things that I really have got from growing this business is, don't ask your family and friends. They'll always say, it's a great idea, go for it, we love it, we'll support you. Your family and friends cannot sustain you. Okay, you have to go to the broader community. That means potentially bringing in the experts, having somebody actually say to you, have you thought about this? Have you been challenged by this? What about this? Because when, as we all are part of the idea, that emotional grab and journey to build what you're loving and that passion that you have to build a brand, to build a business, is it sustainable in the marketplace? And that just, when I talk sustainable, I'm not talking environmentally, I'm making reference to the external environment that is talking about, is there enough people who want to buy this? Where do I find my buyers? Who's out there wanting to talk to me? Who wants this product? Remember, we started with a product that found a market. Jats cracker, entertaining, Cars water cracker imported, and in between we found the spot that we actually sit in. And that became the entertaining cracker that people really enjoyed. So by 2016, we had an incredible number of inclusiveness is the key to a better team. We are family. The slide you see at the moment is me addressing the staff in 2016. We had some massive personal health issues and challenges in this business in 2016. Ben had taken unwell with the bearing of all that stress on him, and he had to take some time out, and I was left with a staff of 50 to run that business. I'd built a business that always had a partner. So the effects of this, and this slide really talks to, it's a very emotional slide, it talks to the personal, the Kurrajong Kitchen family. It talks to how these people we relied on. We, of course, in 2016, didn't tell everybody in the business the situation of the personal family journey that we were struggling with at all. But we needed to share, and we needed to ask them for their support. As we had supported them, we now needed their support. And many people stepped up to offer that support and keep this brand alive. Of course, sharing a story out like that is incredibly, makes you vulnerable. So we had to protect the brand to protect the people as well. Potentially the vultures would have come looking to take Kurrajong Kitchen away, take it out of the Hawkesbury. We're so community based. We value our community so much. We have been in the Hawkesbury since 1993. 30 years next year. We proudly support Australian wheat farmers, which gives a ripple effect out to the Australian rural communities when there is an opportunity to buy in overseas grown wheat at cheaper prices. These are not our choices or values we make. We choose to support the Australian economy, the Australian consumer, the Australian worker, and our Australian families, whatever that looks like. By 2016, we'd gone through that challenge, we'd called in, and we came back out by 2017. My personal journey in this, by 2017, probably that weight of that whole challenge, I needed to focus on something beyond what was happening and try to get some self-care in there. I talk a lot about self-care, team care and business care. We looked after the team. We looked after the business. It was time to look after myself in my journey. So I decided that I, being an outcome-focused person, would actually choose to run a marathon. Having never been a runner, in December 2016, I got myself a coach. But by 2017, I ran the New York Marathon in 7 hours, 3 minutes and 5 seconds. The journey of running that marathon was the greatest challenge and reflection of how we'd gone in business Every moment of hurt in that marathon was reflected in the business journey. Every step was something different that was coming up in my face and saying, you achieved this, Karen, in business, you've got this far, you could actually get through this marathon. And in the darkness of night in New York, in rain coming down, with my t-shirt that actually said Lavosh across the front of it, I came across the line and the announcer says, and it's Lavosh from Australia. So it was a reward and a recognition for me, an achievement. And had I run that marathon in a whole lot shorter time, I would never have been acknowledged for that. Being an outcome-focused person, I was able to take that into my journey and take that through life. It's been an absolute wonderful journey of Kurrajong Kitchen, and we're very blessed to be a proud Australian manufacturer. So we are a true icon, we say, of the biscuit aisle these days. We're a first-generation family-owned business. We're located in the beautiful Hawkesbury region of New South Wales, and we intend to stay here. And I love that we have started there, first-generation family. We came to the Hawkesbury ourselves in 1990. We started our business in 1993. We have been lured, had the carrot dangled to go off overseas and being an overseas manufacturer and come bringing our product to shore. We are not going anywhere at all. We're supported by a team of long-term employment with, of course, a culture that is our family. We were created in a family restaurant where we started. We were the very first Lavosh cracker into Coles in 1998. From the 30 packets a week, today we bake 750,000 pieces of Lavosh a day and growing. Still to the same consistency. Consistency is key. The same love, the same dedication to make sure that as if I was serving it to you in the restaurant, in the packet, you empty it out and you serve it on your plate, and it's as if we are standing there next to you. We are the original Lavosh, and we continue to be obviously that. Our value 7, innovation and continuous improvement, will drive us to a world-class facility. Australian manufacturing is tough. We've seen a lot of employment law changes over those 30 years. We've seen environments that change. We've seen when we choose to be in the supermarkets, we've seen Coles go to a down, prices are down, so we're competing in there. We've seen other retailers change their policies and the way they come to market also. We're very proud to be an Australian manufacturer, supporting Australian wheat farmers as we grow along there. Today, as we've invested in new equipment, which has just come on into our factory, we're very well supported in ensuring that the continuation of our product that you love and you enjoy, consistency is key. Consistency is key, that will remain and continue to go on. So let's just have a quick recap on COVID for a moment, because in 2020, in the COVID challenge that we had, we continued to support our community, we continued to support our suppliers and our customers. We were able to send gift packs along to those who were actually really stuck in lockdown, and many people in Victoria received a small gift pack from us to ensure that they were just looked after and somebody cared about them. We spoke to our suppliers and to ensure that they could continue to supply us, and everybody was challenged. At every point in the supply chain, everybody challenged. My number one message on this is communication is key. We spoke to our suppliers, our customers, we spoke to everybody that we possibly could. We brought the KK family, the team together, and allowed them to understand the value of ensuring this kitchen did not get shut down due to COVID. So everybody, whilst we were governed by the laws in the community, we chose our own. We added extra sanitising, we added extra hand washing. We just made sure that those who needed to keep a second job at the time were ensuring that they didn't bring COVID into the factory. Communication is key. It's an incredibly important part of building a successful business, of building a team around you, a family, a culture that will get you through. Our proud partnerships remain 30 years on: Qantas, Coles, Costco, Woolworths, Harris Farm, a number of others that we actually love dealing with. We're investing in our future, so our current challenge is to become carbon neutral. Whilst there's an opportunity to always buy carbon credits from overseas, of course with the values that we hold true to being Australian manufacturing, supporting Australian communities, we're looking very hard at the moment at how we can support a carbon neutral opportunity in Australia, and that's what we're very keen to do. We've always supported our community, whether it be in giveaways, whether it be in local community, the Variety Bash, in supporting our Australian farmers going forward as the Royal Easter Show comes near. We'll once again be part of the Ag Bag to support monies that goes to farming families out there. Opportunity to share the knowledge, as I'm doing it with you today, will allow our community to grow, allow business to grow. We have had schools come through our plant as well to actually learn and have opportunities. We remain an Australian manufacturer, proudly supporting Australian wheat farmers. We employ 72% females. 11% of our team comes through Nova employment, working with a community that we can grow, we can all benefit from. One of our greatest lessons I'd like you to take away from today, whilst there may have been many, is that the effect that you have on the community by a small business that you continue to be, by employing one person or two people, is the greatest impact you can make as a small business in your community. Thank you for taking the time to hear my story, to listen to me. I hope your lessons have been taken that you can apply and go forward and grow and support your community.